Hello everyone and welcome back to the Confessions of a Teenage Witch podcast. My name is Ella and I am your host, and today we are going for a little more cozy vibe. If you are watching the video version, you'll see we are at my bed and we have all the lovely decor in the background. I really like this setup. I might actually change it so that I do more episodes like this because it's really nice and cozy. There might be a bit of rustling with the duvet, you might be able to hear it more. It might be a little bit crazy. I've turned the gain down so it shouldn't be too mad with the audio levels, but yeah, let's just get ahead and start with the episode. So today we're going to be talking about finding your passion in life. I don't know if my advice today is going to be incredible, revolutionary and insane. I'm going to be kind of sharing my experiences of how I found what I wanted to do in life, how it has changed since I discovered it, and I am going to be trying to give some advice from what I've learnt of how you can find what your life's purpose is, what you're supposed to do with life.
Editing me here.
Begin by saying that you may think that you have to just find one singular thing to be like your main passion in life, and that you can't have multiple, but you definitely can. If you look at some of the most successful people in the world, or like just anyone who is successful, it is highly unlikely that they have just one thing that they're really passionate about. Like these big business owners, they often have multiple businesses, multiple things that they are passionate about and things that they're interested in. So don't think that you have to limit yourself to just one. I think that's a big issue that they have with people my age. People think that they've got to pick a career that they want and they're going to have forever, like in the B movie where you have to pick your job and you are stuck in it for the rest of your life. But that definitely isn't the case. You can change what you want to do, you can change your passion. So yes, and you also may change your mind about things. It's the same with music. There's some music like you hear and you really don't like it, but a couple of years later you hear it again and for some reason you just really, really like it. It could be new experiences you've had, or just the fact that over time your taste for different things just kind of expands. You have like different acceptingness of stuff. You just want to expand your love for different things. Like it's really hard to find the right words. You're interested in more than one thing. You have a wider taste and wider interests. What do they call it? Like a wider palette. I don't know. I'm rustling again and it's going to be really noisy. But yes, so I discovered what I wanted to do when I was in year 11. I was 16 and it was around May, June time. And when I discovered it, I felt like I had cracked the code. I was like, oh my God, this is my life. I can't believe I found it. And my family were like, in the beginning, a bit skeptical. They were like, you might change your mind. But I haven't changed my mind in the last like 2 years, like since I decided that's what I wanted to do. But I have kind of expanded the possibilities of it. So I discovered about 2 years ago that I wanted to become a microbiologist. So microbiology is a field of biology where it studies tiny organisms that you can't see with the naked eye, usually involving microscopes, and I thought this was the most incredible thing ever. Like the idea that there are more living organisms in a handful of soil than people who have ever lived on this planet. I was like, you can't get much better than that. Because I always knew that I loved biology. From a very young age, I wanted to be a doctor. But then as I got older, I was like, no, it is too stressful and I am too squeamish. And I also don't want to see people dying. So yeah, I then thought, I always knew I'd do something sciencey, but I was just waiting until I found my perfect area of science. And when I found microbiology, I was like, this is it, and it then became my whole personality. And since then, I still love microbiology, but I'm open to the possibility of doing other similar biological fields. I also have an interest in mycology, which is the study of mushrooms. I also have an interest in plant science, and just anything under the umbrella of like nature themed biology, like stuff to do with trees, the relationship between like mushrooms and plants, and just all sorts of different stuff like that. I find that also fascinating. So I'm being less kind of confined within what I want to study, because I've had to change the degree that I wanted to study, because the university I wanted to study it at, they changed how they did their degrees. So they used to make it so you could study a microbiology degree, you could study a plant science degree, you could even study a medical microbiology degree. It was that specific, but they stopped offering that. So now you have to take biological sciences and then specify in the specific type of biology you want to specify by modules, and it just says on your transcript that you specialised in that type of biology. So I almost changed my mind and was like, I don't want to go to this university if they are not going to give me microbiology as my degree title. But then I realised how good it would be to study biological sciences, because you got the freedom to learn lots of different things, and I might find that there is an area of biology that I might actually really, really like, that might be just a little bit different to microbiology. And also, I don't know how many people are actually studying the areas of microbiology that I find interesting, because microbiology is so broad. Like, it goes from like disease science to food science, and then like environmental science, working for water companies and checking that there aren't any diseases in the water. Like, that is one of the reasons why I love it so much, is the fact that it includes so many different things, and it is so relevant in the world. And also there's so much that we don't know about microbiology. It is so interesting and fascinating, and yes, I have not discovered an area of science that I have fallen in love with as much as I've fallen in love with microbiology since I found it. So very, very happy with that. And my favourite area of microbiology, it's so hard to keep saying that word, is that I have found is, there's so many great ones, but one that I really, really resonated with, and this is one of my favourite parts of it, is like my favourite ideas of microbiology, is the microbiology of the things that live in the ground. Like, there's these microbes that live like deep in the ground, like thousands of kilometers into the earth or something crazy, and they live for so long that they kind of live on a different time scale, and they also act like rocks. Like, the way that they eat chemicals. It's really hard to explain because I haven't watched this TED Talk in a while, but I'll leave it in the description box if you want to listen to it. It's such an interesting TED Talk. It's about this woman that researches it, but it's really cool, the fact that there is life literally everywhere and we don't even know about it. Like, there is things living on my face, there's stuff in the air, there is, like, in dirty buckets of water, you can find the most incredible animals living, and you never would have even thought that it was there. And I love all the different, like, kind of characters you get. It's kind of like Pokemon when you start learning about the things that live in ponds. You have like tardigrades, you have amoeba, you have like little rotifers, and rotifers my first microbe, and I will talk about that later. So I just think it is so interesting. I never actually ended up going back and telling that story, so I'm going to tell it now. So I found my first microbe. I need to be quiet because my mum is asleep in the next room. I found my first microbe in some, like, a plant pot in my garden. Because when you get plant pots that start to collect rainwater, things start to live in them. And sometimes you can actually see these things living. There's a big pot of water in my garden at the moment, and there are things swimming around, and they look like little stentors, and stentors are like these really cool trumpet looking things. They're called like blue trumpets when they're like Stentacruliuses. They're like these blue ones. I need to see if I got my book. I can show you. So this is a book that I'd recommend to literally anyone, like not even if you're not interested in microbiology that much. It is just such a beautiful book. It is by the guy that does all of the microbiology footage that you see in the Journey to the Microcosmos YouTube channel. It's a show that Hank Green does. I really, really love it. And that's another thing that really got me even more into microbiology, is that show on YouTube, and it's very sadly ending soon, but it's so beautiful. Like, even if you don't like microbiology, just to watch it, it's so mesmerising. And just the way that James shoots these different things, he uses like dark field microscopy as well in some of it, which makes the colours more vibrant, which is this technique of light microscopy where I tried to do it myself once, and it's really difficult. You get these kind of filters, and they refract the light in a way where they let in some of the light into your specimen, but not enough where the background shows up as white. It makes the background show up as black when you put some kind of thing, so you restrict the light in some way. I don't know. I'm very much a self-taught microscoper, because they don't teach you much at school about microscopy. They did do a couple of practicals with microscopes, and some kids didn't know what they were doing, which I thought was so sad that they don't do more of it in school. I think it's so interesting to see what things look like really small. Anyway, back to stentors. I swear there are stentors in my garden. But this book shows all of his like photography that he's done of different microbes that he's found. 102. But I don't think these are blue stentors, but they might be. And there's this beautiful page in here, and it goes on 2 pages. But this is such a beautiful coffee table book. Here, this is a Stentacrulius. How beautiful that is. Like, can you believe that that's living in your pond? I really love it. So, yes. I need to get a bit close to the mic, you can't really hear me. So, yes, so I was looking, I wanted to see a microbe so badly, but the microscope that I had was not great. It was one that I inherited. I didn't inherit it. My granddad just gave it to me because he thought that we were interested in science, like me and my brother, and we'd probably use it. And I had used it a couple of times in my childhood, but I'd never seen any microorganisms. And so when I started learning about microorganisms and that you could see them with a microscope, I really, really wanted to see one. So I kept testing water, random water that I'd find, and I could not see anything. I couldn't find anything moving around. I was like, I'm never going to be able to see a microbe. And then one day I checked water, and if you want to do this for the first time, you need to find water that is really murky, but not too murky that you can't see anything. When you've got lots of like algae living in it and like lots of dirt, there'll be stuff feeding on it. So you have to go where the food is, and that's usually the food. Like, things will be eating all of the stuff. And once I found this, I found a couple of rotifers, and this is my first rotifer. But it took me ages to figure out what it was. I took a picture of it, and it is so cute. And the way that rotifers move, they kind of like stretch their body in and outwards as they move, and it's really cool because they're one of those microbes. There's so many microbes that are like, they could live a really, really long time. If they don't run out of food, then they can survive, and or if they're eaten, they have really long lifespans, and they can even be frozen and they'll still be alive. I actually managed to keep some of these rotifers alive for a couple of months in some slides. They were still living, and I did keep the jar of water that I collected for a long time, like at least a year before I threw it out, because it started to go a bit weird and I didn't want to start growing something dangerous, just keeping dirty water in my room. So yes, when I saw this rotifer for the first time, my first tiny bit of life in front of me, I literally cried. And I don't know, I just felt so just like emotional because it meant so much to me, that I just could not comprehend that there was literally little animals living in my garden and barely anyone knows about these. Like the general population, they have no idea that there are so many microorganisms just everywhere. Like everyone knows about bacteria, but it's so much more than that. Like these are multicellular eukaryotes. These have so many cells in them. They're not just like tiny little stuff that you can barely see. Like they're alive and they can respond to their environments, and it's just so interesting. Anyway, so after that I then started trying to save up for a microscope, and because my other granddad, he knew how much it meant to me. He ended up buying one for me so I didn't have to keep saving, because I at one point was going to buy like a £2,000 microscope because I thought it'd be better quality when you just need to buy the basic one. So this is my microscope. So yes, this is it. Look how cute it is. I got it from Amscope. Ooh. And I really wanted to get one with the two eyepieces, because the one I had before was one eyepiece, but I wanted to feel really immersed within it. And I did really want a microscope that had 3 as well. I wanted like with the 2 and then one on top so I could film it, but I don't know, one day in the future I will get one, because you have to get like a different kind of camera anyway for a microscope, but I'm obsessed. But I barely used it because I've been so busy with A-levels, so now I finally have time. I'm going to be doing lots of microscopy, and I will be posting the content about it somewhere. Don't know where. But I did make a microscopy video a while ago. I'll leave a link in the description. But anyway, so yeah, that's the story of when I saw my first microbe, and after that I then was trying to learn how to use the higher magnification things. So I asked my uncle, because my uncle is a scientist, he's a toxicologist, so he did a lot of lab work, because also he's got a PhD, so he knows all his science stuff. So I asked him for help to know how to use the higher ones, because it wouldn't work for me, and also I didn't know how to put the oil on the thing. And when I learned how to use the oil so that you could have a really high magnification, I saw my first tardigrade, and tardigrades are the most adorable thing ever, and seeing one in real life was just incredible because they're so cute. They are these little water bears, and some of them even have eyes. I'll leave a video down below as well of tardigrades. They are just so cute, and the ones that I had, they kept hiding in what they were eating, and it was really cute. They kept like poking their head out and then going back in. So yes, that's everything I have to say in this section talking about this. Let's go back to the pod. So yes, another one of my favourite reasons why microbiology is so incredible is the idea that there is life almost anywhere on this planet, even the most desolate places where you'd think that nothing would live because the conditions are just so undesirable. There are extremophiles that can survive, like in Yellowstone National Park in America. I can't remember what states it's in. Like the Grand Prismatic, that big circular pond thing. It is like really hot temperatures, and it's got like crazy chemicals in that like fish can't live in, and there are still microbes living in there because they are adapted to be able to live in the little pond. Like, it's just mad to me. So I really, really love it. And I love the idea of research because there is so much that we don't know. And I would really, really love to do that as a career. And that is what I kind of settled on in my mind of what I'd like to do. But I don't know how many research groups there are researching things that I am interested in. It's really hard to be able to track it and to be able to work out stuff. Because I don't really understand like the science networks yet, but I will do when I'm at university, so I'm very excited for that. But it's just so fascinating and just so me. Like, biology is so me. It is just my thing. So yeah, really loved that. And that was why I was so like kind of annoyed at like A-level biology, because it really doesn't go into detail in anything that I'm really interested in. There was not really much natural biology. They had like the nitrogen cycle. They talked about a couple of species of bacteria with the nitrogen cycle, but other than that there wasn't really anything really that great. So I found it so hard to study for it because it wasn't my kind of biology. It was really biomedical, because there's so many people that take it just because they want to be doctors. So yes. So talking about how to find your passion, you really have to just have an open mind with anything. Like, you may think that something isn't for you, and you might have tried it a little bit, but it might actually be the perfect thing for you. There's so many people that do like work experience of something that they hate, and then they realise that it's what they want to do, or they start something as like a temporary job and then it becomes like their dream job. So definitely just never close down the possibility of something until you find something that's perfect for you. And also remember that your passion's your favourite thing. Like, it can change over time. So something you may really like when you're younger, you may decide when you get older that it might not be right for you. And even though you made it your whole personality, like that was what you were going to do, it's okay to change. Like, you're not letting anyone down. It is right for you to do what is right for you. That's what you should try and do. So yeah, I always find that really, really hard when I change my mind on something. I don't know why I always worry about what other people were going to say and what they're going to think, because I've made it my whole personality for so long, when it's like, it's nothing to do with them. Why do I even worry? But yeah, there's so many different things that you can do in this world. So just try everything out and you'll eventually find something. I know that's really generic advice, and I'm definitely going to do another episode on this. I'm definitely going to be talking about microbiology more. But yeah, because I am so tired. I think we need to go to the second half of this episode. I don't know how bad or good this sounds, but anyway, so my first favourite this week is Little Miss Sunshine. Now, I watched this the other day and I really, really loved it. I've been meaning to watch this film for such a long time and I really, really enjoyed it. It's about this little girl and her family, and they go on a road trip to California, I think it is, and she wants to be in a beauty pageant, and all of the different people in the family all have their own things that they're going through, so it creates a really interesting dynamic in the family, and they're kind of trying to all survive whilst the car just keeps breaking down, and it's just really difficult to get there because they're on this crazy long road trip. And I just thought it was so charming. It was definitely 5 stars, and it was just really nice because it's like a classic film. It was really nice to watch because it's just such good quality, because I don't know why, but like so many films that I've seen lately, the films have been like almost perfect, and then something that was really easily avoidable has ruined the film, and I don't know why, because yeah, I think it's because maybe films are worked on by so many different people, it's hard to kind of regulate stuff. Like with me making my videos, it's just all up to me to make the decisions, but I don't know. the second favourite this week is the Colin and Samir show, and this is my favourite podcast. Like, I talk about this podcast a lot. It's also like kind of a YouTube channel as well, but it's these two YouTubers. They talk about YouTubers and they interview YouTubers on the show, and I really, really love it because it is the main thing that made me start to value myself as a creator and actually realise that I have the potential to make really good content and really grow my channel, because watching like those how to survive on YouTube, how to have a successful YouTube channel when I was younger, they kind of made me feel like it was so out of reach and there was no chance I was ever going to make it. So by starting to watch their channel and really putting myself in the mindset of already having a successful channel, like I am a creator, and when I like added it to my LinkedIn profile, I started to really believe that I could do it and that I could make really good stuff, because I feel like for a couple of years of doing this, I kind of gave up and was like, oh well, no one's gonna ever really, like, loads of people aren't ever gonna subscribe, and I don't think I have the chance to have a channel where everyone wants to subscribe for me. That's why I started doing reaction videos, because I was like, people are only ever going to be interested in other people. Like, I don't think that I'm cut out for YouTube, like, to be one of those kind of personality-based creators where people like the person and not necessarily what they're talking about. So I kind of had really low confidence, but they really helped me to have confidence again, and they just talk about things that I just find so interesting about the platform, and I really miss their little extra podcast they used to do called Creator Support, where they used to like answer questions, and it was like audio only. A lot of the time it was a really, really nice podcast, but they're trying to bring it back in a different way, but it's kind of not really the same. Like, they talk about really interesting things like, when is a video, when does it have like rewatch potential? Like, what kind of genres could you have videos that are interesting to watch back again? And they just say really interesting stuff that I found so relevant. So yeah, but I find it really great as well because it's helped me find some really interesting creators that I wouldn't have normally stumbled across, because they talk to really successful creators from loads of different niches, so it's so cool, and it really creates like a really nice network, because it really helps bring creators together, because I feel like with short form content at the moment, it's kind of it's more important than ever that we really value creators, because I see so much in my feeds, like people reposting stuff, and it's like, I just want to see stuff made by people. I want to value people as artists, as creatives, and then there's just a load of rubbish on YouTube. I feel like before they had shorts, like, there would be loads of rubbish content, but the algorithm would filter it out, so you'd be less likely to see rubbish content. But now you have YouTube shorts, it is served to you on purpose, and you can't really escape bad content because of the way that the YouTube shorts algorithm works. It will show you bad content, like, you can't not see it. It is there. And you can't tune your algorithm to filter it out, and it really doesn't know how to find content that you're interested in. And I hate it. I like one TikTok about Taylor Swift, and then my whole feed is Taylor Swift, and like, Taylor Swift content at the moment just makes me feel really depressed, because I really don't like the point of her career that she's in at the moment. Like, as a fan, I'm kind of more disconnected from Taylor Swift than the whole world is. The whole world is like obsessed with her at the moment, but the way she's kind of blown up, just kind of, I don't know, she doesn't feel the same as an artist that I listen to anymore, like she did when Folklore came out, when Evermore came out. It's not the same anymore. I think it's the Eras tour, and I think the Eras tour with with people keep posting about it, it's just making it more and more popular. I feel like I've been to the Eras tour and I haven't actually been. Like, that is how much people post about it. I feel like the whole world has been, because it's just so much on social media. Anyway, also with Sabrina Carpenter, since she's blown up, not a fan anymore. And I really hope that doesn't happen with Chapel Roan, because I started listening to Chapel Roan a couple weeks before she blew up, and yeah, but I don't think it will happen because she's such a good artist, and I'm going to try and limit my social media consumption. But it's really hard at the moment because I can't find any good TV to watch, so I just end up watching YouTube all the time, and that's really not good because I either compare myself or I can't find good content. It's very rare when I find good content because my recommended at the moment isn't very good. Like, a couple months ago, my recommended was amazing. I found such good content to watch. But at the moment, I don't know. But my favourite creators at the moment are making really good content, so that is good. But I haven't really discovered anything new that's been, like... I feel like often I find one-off videos that are really, really cool, and then I subscribe to the person. But then they don't have loads of, like, backlog of content I can go and binge. They're kind of like one-off, creative, artsy, inspirational videos, and then they kind of post every now and then. I don't know. Anyway, the final favourite of this week is the album Ray by Ash, and I absolutely love this album. I have a little picture of it on my wall with all the other little albums, and I don't know why, but ever since I first heard this album, I've just been in love with it. I think it's one of my top 10 favourite albums of all time at the moment. But yeah, my favourite songs from it is Shower With My Clothes On My Way. It's stylised as OMW. It's really, really fun. I absolutely love the way the album intro, like this 1 second thing, it's called Ray's Theme, I think. And then it goes into Another Man's Jeans. Like, that transition is just beautiful. I really love just how that instrumental, the first song, sounds, and then when it goes into the next one, it sounds really, really cool. And then, what other songs on the album? I don't know. I need to have a nap. I do not feel well. So that is the end of this episode. Sorry it was a lot shorter than other episodes. I think it was good for everybody, or else I'd be blabbing about something really uninteresting. I'm going to try and start planning my podcast episodes out in future, so I write like a kind of outline to make it easier for me to do them. And also in the future, I'm definitely going to be having some guests on the pod. I'm really excited for that. Yes, and also something I fear a little bit, but I think it might have to happen at some point, is when I go to university, I might have to some weeks do audio only to make it easier. But I think I'll always be able to just set up a camera, even if it doesn't look presentable, just because I love watching podcasts. I love watching them. It's really nice just to be able to see the person and listen. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next week for the next one. Bye.